Yeah, it's interesting, guys, because I feel like us who are not necessarily like Bears fans, we're going to be like, oh, we see improvement, we see all of that. But Mina, you see on the screen a 42% chance to make the playoffs. That's 8th in the NFC, according to ESPN analytics. How would you describe what success should look like for this Bears team next season?
Well, it's hard not to have playoff aspirations given how well the defense played last year and the fact that they were actually, verging on contention at times. They did not have the #1 overall pick because of their own record. They had it because they had Carolina's. But I really think the most important thing for this team is just Caleb Williams. His development. You want to see him develop the habits that I talked about. You want to see all of the qualities you saw in college that made him the first overall pick, marked in pen, right, for months before the draft. And I think that the Bears have really done everything, maybe with the exception of the offensive line, that it will take to ensure that. So even if you do have some defensive regression, even if you don't make the playoffs because you play in a difficult NFC North, arguably the best division in the NFL, success with Caleb Williams matters more than all of that.
Yeah, certainly in the big picture, this is a Bears franchise that's been looking for a quarterback for about 9 decades now. This is not just a one-year thing. They're not lucky enough to be the Packers or the Colts where they just have franchise quarterback after franchise quarterback. So realistically, we saw the Bears make major progress on defense in the second half of last season. They were one of the best defenses in football over that stretch. They have Montez Sweat now, a major pass rusher, a young, promising secondary. But even if they miss the postseason and Caleb Williams plays like he's a fantastic rookie quarterback, if he gets the next CJ Stroud caliber season as a rookie, I know Bears fans will want to be in the postseason in January, but they will be much happier having that guy they can feel confident about for making postseason trips for the next decade in Chicago.
So, yeah, as you guys know, I've said this now at length, that I think that the Chicago Bears will indeed make the playoffs. When you look at all the other teams, I think that they will most likely come out and be the 7th and make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the division. I think the division obviously is going to be brutal. And as I've said also a lot, I'm really excited to watch all those games. The Packers, the Lions, it's just going to be so great. It really, really is. And then when Minnesota gets going, like it's just every single divisional game is just going to be can't miss TV. But with all that said, even if they don't make the playoffs, I don't think that it's a failure, though. Even though that's my expectations that they will, if that division really ends up being the issue why they're not able to get them in, the Bears in, then I totally see that. Then I think that's totally okay, and that's not an indictment on the Bears. But again, you have to figure out though. You have to figure out why though you come up short if you do. Because if you come up short and just because it's just so clear that the Packers are mature now, ready to go. Same thing with the Lions. Goff is just playing out of his mind, and that offense was not a one-hit wonder and they're flowing, and Jordan Love's not a one-hit wonder and they're flowing. You're gonna be it's going to be understandable that you're going to be a little bit behind them because they have more experience in that regard with a more mature team and quarterback. But if it's one of those things where it's clear that the Chicago Bears coach is still ahead of his is beyond his skis, and that your new OC is just not dialing up the right plays, and you're kind of losing games that you should win, and it's not so much of like, yeah, well, guess what? This is a young team. Rookie's going to be a rookie. That just is what it is, and it's more because of the franchise itself. Well, then that's not a successful season, right? Like, so it's obviously it's easy to say, well, this season's all about Caleb Williams' development. But if Caleb Williams' development proves to be developed and he's doing what he should be able to do, and you can feel like if any fan watches those games and says, wow, I believe in Caleb Williams, like after watching this season, well, then that should lead to the playoffs. It just should. So again, if he doesn't reach his potential, then you have to figure out, well, why did he not reach his potential? And is it because of the coaching? Is it because of the offensive line? What is the actual situation as a whole? So that's why you have to kind of really figure out, if they don't make the playoffs, what is the reason? Why? But like I said, the only reason that I think that they would not make the playoffs is that if the level of talent around the NFL is even higher than I believe, and I think it's through the roof right now. But like maybe Tampa, because people think like Tampa Bay will be in the playoffs. And I'm like, heck no, get out of here. Not even close. But let's say they're a lot better than I thought. And maybe they also now get into the wild card and the Atlanta Falcons make it. Like, I can see in those types of situations where that's potentially possible, but I personally don't see it. So if the Chicago Bears don't at least get the 7th seed, then I think it's because there was a fundamental issue within the franchise, whether that's coaching, whether it's because Caleb just had a really rocky rookie year, which even if he does, then I would probably also blame the organization more than Caleb blames himself, because I have no feeling or sense that Caleb is going to somehow be a bust or not be as good as advertised, right? Like I would totally be looking elsewhere for the blame of that. So definitely pretty interesting. But it does seem like these people, they're still kind of doubting whether or not the Chicago Bears can make the playoffs or not. I really don't think I'm far off. I just think that the pieces that they have, and if Caleb Williams is as great as we all think he is, his rookie year should be good enough to get them in the playoffs. You know, I really, really do firmly believe that. I don't think that's such a far stretch. I do think we're kind of having this issue with, we were seeing a lot of young quarterbacks have immediate success, like a CJ Stroud. I know Jordan Love didn't play the first couple of years, but when he actually finally played, right, obviously success. Brock Purdy, obvious success. I don't know if that's necessarily the norm, and you also have to look at those situations that, in those situations, they kind of had a perfect storm and a perfect unfolding of a schedule or coaching or roster itself that allowed for that to happen. And whether or not the Bears actually have that in place for them remains to be seen. I do know that the Bears fans are definitely pretty high, but it also seems actually pretty interesting. Based off my experience interacting with Chicago Bears fans on this channel, it actually seems like more Bears fans than not actually expect them not to make the playoffs, which I found surprising, and not by a large margin. I would say that it's probably like 55% think that they're probably not going to make the playoffs, while the rest of the 45% think like they are going to make the playoffs, and everyone else is just, you know, on the extreme fringes of they're going to be a disaster or they're going to win the Super Bowl or something. But it seems like the general consensus is people are like, I think they're going to be good but not make the playoffs, or I think they're going to make the playoffs, but probably, you know, maybe not win a playoff game. It's like, I don't think that the expectations are actually through the roof for the Bears fans. And it seems also that a lot of Bears fans are really hesitant to get too excited, that they are obviously optimistic and excited, but they're very nervous about what can happen, right? They don't want to get too, so many Bears fans have commented saying, let's not get ahead of ourselves, or let's not get too excited. You know, like, you definitely have a lot of bitter, jaded fans that are like, all right, I've heard this story before, I'll believe it when I see it. And to those fans, I say, just enjoy it, just have fun. You know, the most fun you may have this entire season may be before the season even starts, because you just have no idea. Look at the New York Jets. The best part of their season was every moment right up until Aaron Rodgers finally took a snap. And unfortunately, sometimes that's just the way your season goes. So enjoy the highs while you have it, right? Enjoy the hype, the excitement, and the joy. And then hopefully the expectations actually, you know, reach that. So all interesting stuff ahead, and we are so close to finally having real football stuff to talk about outside of just, will they make the playoffs? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We will no longer have to wait and see, because we'll actually be watching actual games, and I can't wait. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think the Bears have a legitimate chance to make the playoffs? And if they don't, do you think it could still be done in a way that would still leave you optimistic or see the season as a whole as being successful? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.